Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our business meeting for this week. Thanks for adjusting the time. But as we start, I want to ask everyone to please bow for a moment of silent meditation, and we'll remember our staff member, Hope Adams, as she lost her father, and that's one of the reasons we moved this meeting today. So. Amen. Thank you. Mr. Minges.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Our next agenda meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, May 22nd, 2019 at 2 o'clock.
Thank you. 2 o'clock, Wednesday the 22nd. Second. Okay. Commissioner Bell, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to put on the record that there are two items on the utilities agenda that I am recusing myself from. These are dockets that I have also recused from in the past, and those are item number 2, docket number 2017-292-WS, involves a rate case involving Blue Granite, which was formerly Carolina Water Service, and item number 8, docket number 2018-82S, is a rate case involving Palmetto Wastewater Reclamation. I cannot participate in discussions on those cases. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bell, sir. Okay, Mr. Minges.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On our utilities agenda, item number 1, docket number 2008-140A, is a request of Palmetto State Utility Services Incorporated for an extension of time.
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Bell, sir.
I move that the Commission grant the request of Palmetto State Utility Services Incorporated, grant their request for a 30-day extension of time until June 8th to file its 2018 annual report. So move.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Belser's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 2, docket number 2017-292-WS, is a request of Blue Granite Water Company for an extension of time.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Irvin.
based on ORS's recommendation, order number 345A in this docket required Blue Granite Water Company, formerly Carolina Water Service, to conduct an inflow and infiltration study for the sewer system serving properties owned by Dancing Dolphin LLC, and to provide a report to the Commission. Due to the magnitude of the work associated with the study, Blue Granite has asked for a 30-day extension of time to file the report. I move that we grant the company a 30-day extension of time to file their report. So moved.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Irvin's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 3, docket number 2008-140A, is a request of Lakewood Utilities, LLC for an extension of time.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we grant the request of Lakewood Utilities, LLC for a 30-day extension of time until June 8, 2019 to file its 2018 annual report. So move, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Hamilton's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 4, docket number 2019-1E, Duke Energy Progress is requesting confidential treatment of Exhibit 3 to Kelvin Henderson's direct testimony.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Whitfield.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we grant Duke Energy Progress, LLC's request for confidential treatment of Exhibit 3 to Kelvin Henderson's direct testimony. The company asserts that Kelvin Henderson's Exhibit 3 contains certain proprietary and confidential information relating to sensitive outage information that, if disclosed, could negatively impact DEP's ability to safely and reliably provide effective service to its customers. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Whitfield's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 5, docket number 2018-318E, Duke Energy Progress, LLC's application for adjustment in electric rate schedules and tariffs.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Whitfield.
Mr. Chairman, this docket impacts ratepayers in multiple counties in my district. And, Mr. Chairman, I have a prepared motion that is quite long, but my motion is addressing 2018-318-E, the application of Duke Energy Progress, LLC, for adjustments in electric rate schedules and tariffs and requests for an accounting order. Mr. Chairman, in docket 2018-318E, Duke Energy Progress seeks an increase in electric rates and charges. The utility's initial application included a request for a $69 million increase and a return on equity of 10.50%. To be clear, Mr. Chairman, I understand that the company's requested rate increase for $69 million is to have an offset of $10 million by a rate rider, resulting in money being returned to the ratepayers caused by changes due to the Federal Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. The company's application reflects this by requesting a, quote, net increase of $59 million and explaining the offset in footnote 1 of its application. Mr. Chairman, this case presented this commission with many difficult issues to resolve. The commissioners heard compelling testimony from the company's customers at public hearings held in Florence and Sumter, and the parties presented their evidence at the merits hearing beginning on Thursday, April 11th, and concluding on Wednesday, April 17th. One of the most contentious issues at the outset of this case was the proposed increase in the monthly basic facilities charge. The company had initially proposed raising the monthly basic facilities charge, or BFC, for residential customers from $9.06 to $29. The company also proposed similar BFC increases for customers on other rate schedules. However, the company subsequently agreed not to oppose capping the BFC at $11.78 for residential customers, $12.34 for small general service customers, and $11.31 for small general service constant load customers, with the remainder of the revenue requirement ultimately approved by this commission to be collected by the company in volumetric rates. Further, Mr. Chairman, I move that we limit the increase of the BFC of the medium general service customers to be no greater than the average percentage increase of the small general service and small general service constant load customers. Mr. Chairman, this commission heard loud and clear from those on fixed incomes, those who use less energy, and those on power-only or seasonal customers, such as the crop farmers who testified at the night hearings. I believe, Mr. Chairman, that limiting the BFC for these customers will minimize the rate impact for those customers that tend to be on fixed incomes that use less power or own power-only seasonally, such as, again, as the farmers. With the addition of the limitation to the BFC of the medium general service BFC, I move that we adopt this proposal. In addition to adopting this proposal, I move that we instruct the company to research how it can assist and educate ratepayers, especially those in agricultural operations, about ways to reduce the number of electric meters used in their operations. To the extent that the number of meters per operation can be reduced, the ratepayers will pay less and the company will have less aging infrastructure to maintain. Further, Mr. Chairman, I would like to thank the company for its commitment to have staff dedicated or representatives dedicated to communicating with the agricultural community on these and other relevant issues. Mr. Chairman, the parties presented to the Commission numerous accounting adjustments, 15 of which were contested. Some of the contested accounting adjustments were the subject of a stipulation executed between the ORS and the company during the proceeding. After careful consideration of the entire record, including voluminous testimony and exhibits presented by the utility and the Office of Regulatory staff and participating interveners, I move that we implement the following. Adopt the accounting adjustments that were the subject of the agreement between ORS and the company. I move that we adopt the joint position of ORS and the company on the following adjustments. A, the adjustment of normalization of storm costs using a 5-year average without any inflation adjustment. This results in adjustment of $1,018,000 to O&M expense and income tax by negative $254,000. B, the adjustment for credit card fees using the actual 2018 transactions multiplied by the $1.50 per transaction fee. The result is an adjustment to the O&M expense by $674,000 and income tax of negative $168,000. C, the adjustment regarding rate case expenses. This results in adoption of the ORS position on adjustment number 25. The company shall continue to defer rate case expenses incurred after December 31, 2018, and send invoices to the ORS for audit. D, the adjustment regarding the end-of-life nuclear reserve fund. The company shall adjust depreciation and amortization by $2,938,000, income taxes by negative $733,000, working capital by negative $2,938,000, and accumulated deferred taxes by $733,000 to adjust the reserve for end-of-life nuclear costs. E, the adjustment to nuclear materials and supplies inventory by negative $599,000 to remove nuclear materials and supplies inventory at the Harris Nuclear Station that have remained in hold status for more than 4 years. F, the adjustment to remove any inflation adjustment to non-labor O&M. Mr. Chairman, in addition to the stipulated adjustments, I move that we grant the following treatment to the other contested accounting adjustments. Number one, allow recovery for previously deferred amounts as recommended by ORS. Number two, adopt the ORS position on amortization of deferred environmental costs. By doing so, we are disallowing recovery of $333,480,308 on a system-wide basis proportionately to South Carolina, with the incremental increase in coal ash remediation and disposal costs related to North Carolina's Coal Ash Management Act, also known as CAMA. 3, disallow a return on the deferred depreciation expenses related to South Carolina AMI meters, but accept the deferred cost of capital be included in rate base. Mr. Chairman, I also move that we adopt the ORS position to amortize the deferral balance over a period of 15 years. Number 4, disallow the South Carolina allocation of Duke Energy CEO Lynn Good's compensation. Disallow 75% of the South Carolina allocation of Duke Energy CEO Lynn Good's compensation and 50% of the compensation of the company's next 3 highest executives, and accept the company's adjustment to normalize O&M labor expense and adjust O&M for executive compensation. Number 5, disallow a return on the deferral balance related to the Customer Connect project, resulting in an adjustment of $763,000 to O&M expense, $308,000 to depreciation and amortization expense, and negative $267,000 to income tax expense. Number 6, disallow inclusion of the deferral balance related to South Carolina Grid in rate base and amortize the balance over 5 years, resulting in an adjustment of $424,000 to depreciation and amortization expense, negative $106,000 to income tax expense, $1,016,000 to working capital, and negative $253,000 to accumulated deferred taxes. 7, disallow recovery of $639,000 in O&M expenses, including $390,000 in coal ash litigation costs and $249,000 agreed to by Duke Energy Progress and the Office of Regulatory Staff during the hearing. Number 8, disallow adjustment for ongoing payment obligations due to noncompliance with a contract with Certainty Corporation. Number 9, accept the company's calculation of excess deferred income tax, also known as EDIT, rider, and adopt ORS recommendation to review the changing average rate consumption method related to protected EDIT to ensure that it is correctly calculated in future periods. Additionally, pursuant to the stipulation between the company and Nucor Steel, the company has agreed to modify the EDIT rider as follows. All deferred revenues from January 2018 through May 2019 related to the reduction of the federal tax rate shall be returned to the ratepayers over 3 years instead of 5 years as originally proposed in the application. And the amount of distributed energy resource program deferred balances to be offset under the rider shall be reduced to $6 million instead of $12.66 million as originally proposed in the application. As a result of these modifications, this approach will return excess deferred tax-related dollars to ratepayers more quickly, and there will be a larger credit to ratepayers under the EDIT rider in the first 3 years. Number 10, adopt the remaining adjustments recommended by the ORS. Mr. Chairman, the company is by law entitled to a reasonable rate of return on its allowable costs, but has no right to earn profits on comparable to highly profitable enterprises or speculative ventures. We have carefully reviewed the testimony and evidence related to the appropriate return on equity. DEP witness Hevert recommended a 10.75 with a range of 10.25 to 11.25% ROE. Walmart witness Chris testified that 9.76 is the national average of approved ROEs and 111 vertically integrated electric utility rate cases decided over the 3-year period from 2016 to 2018. ORS witness Parcell employed 3 recognized methodologies: the DCF method, the CAPM method, and the comparable earnings method to find an appropriate range of 9.1% to 9.5% ROE. Mr. Chairman, I recommend the Commission adopt the high end of Mr. Parcell's range using the ROE at 9.5%. With a capital structure reflecting 47% debt and 53% equity, and an ROE of 9.5% results in a revenue increase of $41,474,000. Mr. Chairman, I move that we instruct the company to prepare a proposed tariff conforming to our findings. The Commission will file a formal written order which incorporates its complete findings of fact and conclusions of law. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Whitfield's motion. Are there questions or comments? Commissioner Hamilton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Whitfield, as you probably are aware, the PD, which is my home and a large part of my district, has the highest poverty rate of any area in the state of South Carolina. I believe that this motion that you have prepared answers this problem to meet the needs of those with the least ability to pay more than any other way that we could reach it. I also want to thank the company along with you for preparing it, for pointing out that the company is obtaining and has a professional to work primarily with the farm community to help solve the problems that have existed over the few years that we have seen it. And I do thank the company for their efforts in this part. I also thank Mr. Chairman that the motion before us today is reasonable to the ratepayer and to the company, and is something that we should enjoin and support. And I offer my full support for the motion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman Whitfield. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Hamilton. Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Whitfield, I appreciate your motion, and it addressed several concerns that I had during the course of the proceedings. As you know, we listened to a lot of testimony from all the parties and also from the public. And the concern, one of many concerns that I had during the course of the hearing, is reasonableness of some of these requests. And I appreciate the fact that you have moved that we limit the BFC for medium general service customers, namely the farmers. We learned that farmers are dealing with low crop prices, historically low crop prices. We learned that they're struggling with catastrophic weather, and that 133% increase for the BFC for medium general service customers would essentially amount to rate shock for them. And so I appreciate you addressing that in your motion, because that was one of my concerns. I also was concerned about the CAMA costs. We heard a lot of testimony during the merits hearing on CAMA. And my concern is that we don't know the full cost amount. It's unknown. And approving such a request could essentially amount to a blank check. We also learned that CAMA, whether directly or indirectly, was a byproduct of the Dan River spill, where the company pled guilty to criminal negligence. And I think it would be a shame for us as a commission not to acknowledge the company's responsibility to properly manage the environment. And I'm glad that you addressed the CAMA costs and the disallowance of those costs that are above the federal CCR. Last but certainly not least, there was a lot of testimony about return on equity and what was reasonable. We heard from the company's expert. We heard from Walmart's expert. We heard from the South Carolina energy users expert about what was reasonable for return on equity. And I agree. The law clearly states that the company is entitled to a reasonable return on equity. And I think substantial evidence supported by the record shows that a reasonable return on equity is 9.5%. And so I concur with you with your motion, and I'm glad that you made it, and I concur with Commissioner Hamilton in that this decision through your motion is reasonable for both the company and ratepayers. I'm happy to support your motion, and I'm glad you made it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
in response to Commissioner Hamilton and Commissioner Williams, I would certainly like to say I've heard you, and I realize that both of you have a lot of Duke Energy Progress service territory in each of your districts, as do I. So I certainly heard you, and I welcome your support. And as you stated, Commissioner Williams, you had several concerns, and we certainly did. Again, we certainly heard from those folks affected in the DEP territory on fixed incomes, on low energy users, and also from the agricultural community, specifically the crop farmers. And we also, of course, during the merits hearing, heard from many others interveners. So certainly I appreciate your comments and those of Commissioner Hamilton. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioners, any other questions or comments? Commissioner Irvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also want to thank my fellow commissioners for recognizing the need to try as best we can to help the agricultural community in the PD of South Carolina. Agriculture is still the #1 industry in our state, and as Commissioner Williams stated earlier, they've been severely impacted by a number of events recently, including the hurricanes, the flooding, the storms, the high tariffs that have been imposed by the administration in Washington. These all have adversely impacted our farming community, and we heard from them loud and clear in Florence and Sumter at our public hearings, and we wanted to be supportive as best we can, considering that this is a unique time. Many of our family farms are struggling to survive. I do want to thank the company for their outreach. And after the hearings, we learned later at our public hearing that, and in the hearing itself on the merits, that the company did reach out to these individual farmers that appeared and testified and tried to work with them to find a rate structure would be more appropriate for their usage. And we appreciate that outreach and recognize that the company is trying to do its best to work with the agricultural community, and we encourage them to continue to do that. I also want to echo the comments of Commissioner Hamilton. It's well known that the PD has suffered from poverty. All the statistics that we heard have shown that community has struggled. The unemployment rate is higher in that part of the state, and that's one of many reasons why such a dramatic increase in the basic facilities charge would have adversely impacted those ratepayers in the Duke Energy Progress territory. It would have adversely impacted the elderly, the disabled, the working poor, and we heard a number of people that are trying to work 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet. It would have impacted the disabled, the low-use customers, and it would have discouraged customers from continuing their efforts at energy efficiency, and it would also have discouraged customers from trying to look at alternatives like solar where they can afford it to try and reduce their power bills. Finally, it would have reduced customer control of their electric bills, even if they were using less power, and that, of course, could have the adverse impact of leading to an increase in energy consumption. And so for all those reasons, I commend you, Commissioner Whitfield, on your motion, and I believe that it's going to be fully supported by the Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, anything? Commissioner Howard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, too, want to echo the sentiments of my fellow commissioners. The one thing I'd like to emphasize more is, to me, being on a commission for 15 years, it was really heartwarming and touching to have these public night hearings. I mean, night hearings in the past have yielded some results, but I don't know of any night hearings we've had, the 5 night hearings that we've had for the two cases, that had any more emotional impact and really understanding the plight of the people. And even though we know about it, we heard about it, but it just gives out a whole new dimension when they come before us and they tell you their stories and their problems, and you appreciate it. And again, you know, the interveners and the Farm Bureaus, Harry Opt and all those that came up, and express the concern of the farmers. I too agree with my fellow commissioners, and I think it was a worthwhile effort, and I think the motion is a good motion. So, Mr. Chairman,
Thank you. Thank you. Any others? Okay. If there's nothing else, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And the motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 6, docket number 2011-158E, and non-docket item 2014-18E. Duke Energy Progress and Duke Energy Carolinas are requesting acceptance for filing of a proposed capacity sales agreement.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Urban.
I move that we accept for filing the proposed capacity sales agreement filed by Duke Energy Progress, LLC, and Duke Energy Carolinas, LLC. Securing the capacity is provided for in this agreement is beneficial to the company's customers because both companies can minimize purchases on the open market for capacity that is needed on a short-term temporary basis. These purchases of short-term capacity usually include the additional cost of bundled energy that may not actually be needed. The companies will also be able to minimize the commitment of additional generation. The Office of Regulatory Staff has recommended that we accept the filing, and I so move.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Urban's motion. Are there questions or comments? Commissioner Williams, you got a question?
No, I do not.
Okay, I just saw your light on. I just wanted to make sure I didn't pass over you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm good to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 7, docket number 2011-158E, Duke Energy Corporation is requesting confidential treatment.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Howard.
I move we grant Duke Energy Corporation's request for confidential treatment of certain portions of the 2018 annual report of investments in exempt wholesaling generators and foreign utility companies. The company represents that the report contains confidential, proprietary, and sensitive information that, if disclosed, could harm Duke Energy's investment and business interests in the competitive market. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Howard's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 8, docket number 2018-82S, Palmetto Wastewater Reclamation, LLC's notice to customers related to the Commission's decision on May 1st, 2019.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Williams.
there's a document on the screen that I propose Palmetto Wastewater Reclamation include as a bill insert informing its customers of the newly approved rates. I also move that the Commission direct Palmetto Wastewater to include the notice as a bill insert at the time that the rates go into effect. The company shall file with the Commission a proof of the notice so that it may be reviewed by staff for legibility. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Williams' motion. Are there questions or comments? Everybody had a chance to look at the insert. Okay, if none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. And the motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 9, docket number 1995-1192E. It's a motion for admission pro hoc vici.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Williams.
I move that we grant the motion for admission pro hoc vice of verified application of Lauren Joy Bowen, Esquire, on behalf of the South Carolina Coastal Conservation League and the Southern Alliance for Clean Energy. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Williams' motion. Questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And the motion is carried.
Turning to our transportation agenda, items number 1 through 4 are new applications that can be taken together. Item number 1, docket number 2019-145T, Andrew Simmons Jr., DBA Distinctive Limousine Service. Item number 2, docket 2019-146T, Pink Line Transportation, LLC. Item number 3, docket 2019-148T, Tiffany Nelson, DBA Distinguished Limo Service. And item number 4, docket 2019-149T, Safe Care Non-Emergency Transportation Services, LLC.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move we grant the new applications as identified by Mr. Menges in items 1 through 4. So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Hamilton's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not all in favor, please say aye. All opposed, no. The motion carries.
Item number 5, docket number 2008-140A, is a request for an extension of time.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Belzer.
I move that we grant the request of Coleman American Moving Services, Inc. and Covan Worldwide Moving, Inc. for an extension of time to file its 2018 annual report, and that such extension be approved until May 31st, 2019.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Belzer's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 6, docket number 2017-108T, is a request to cancel.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Williams.
I move that we grant the request of Susan Wissonat to cancel Class C certificate number 9272.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Williams' motion. Are there questions or comments? If not all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The motion carries.
Item number 7, docket numbers 2016-329T and 2019-96T, is request to suspend.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Williams.
I move that we grant the request of Sunrise Solutions, LLC to suspend Class C certificate number 9286 until September 30th, 2019.
Okay, thank you. You've heard Commissioner Williams' motion. Are there questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The motion carries.
Item number 8, docket numbers 1994-354T and 2014-68T, is a request for exemption.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Howard.
I move we grant the request of Diamond Transportation, SC LLC, for an exemption from regulation number 103-153 regarding certain vehicles. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Howard's motion. Are there questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And the motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes today's agenda.
Thank you. We have a transportation hearing this afternoon, so we'll be back for our next commission meeting on the 22nd. And we are adjourned.
Good morning. Following each commission business meeting, which, aside from special instances like today, take place at 2 p.m. each Wednesday, we provide these post-meeting summaries to give context to the issues discussed by the commissioners during the meeting. If you have questions, we encourage you to reach out to us at robert.bachman, B-O-C-K-M-A-N, at psc.sc.gov, or via social media by following the SC Utility Consumer Program on Twitter at @UtilityConsumer, and on Facebook at SC Utility Consumer. Today's business meeting started at 11 a.m. and began with a discussion of Item 1 on the Utilities agenda, a request by Palmetto State Utility Services Incorporated for a 30-day extension of time to file its 2018 annual report. This request, following a motion made by Commissioner Belzer, was granted. Next, the commissioners discussed a similar request made by Blue Granite Water Company for an extension of time to file their report pursuant to Commission Order Number 2018-245-A. Commissioner Irving made the motion to grant this request, noting the magnitude of the project, and the motion passed. Item 3 was also a request made by Lakewood Utilities, LLC, for an extension of time to file their 2018 annual report. Following a motion made by Commissioner Hamilton, this was granted. Item 4, dealing with docket number 2019-1-E, Duke Energy Progress's review of base rates for fuel costs, was a very specific request to treat direct testimony involved with the case as confidential. This was granted following a motion made by Commissioner Whitfield. Item 5 dealt more in depth with Duke Energy Progress's application for adjustments in rate schedules and tariffs. Some background here. In its application filed on November 8, 2018, DEP sought rate changes in order to increase annual revenue by 10.3%, or $59 million, citing recent work to modernize the grid, generate cleaner power, manage and close coal ash basins, and improve service to customers. The Commission held 2 public hearings to gather input from consumers in Sumter and Florence, and held a week-long merit hearing in April. Today, Commissioner Whitfield brought a motion before the Commission, the complete text of which will be available on the Commission website at psc.sc.gov by the close of business today. A press release outlining this motion will also be available. Please email robert.bachman@psc.sc.gov for access to this press release. Again, that's robert.bachman, B-O-C-K-M-A-N, @psc.sc.gov for access. Commissioner Whitfield recommended that the base facility charge be limited to less than Duke Energy Progress's request, more in line with current standard BFCs, and that the company's return on equity be capped at 9.5%. Commissioner Whitfield also proposed that DEP be instructed to educate consumers on how to reduce the number of meters present in their operations and reduce their overall energy consumption. The complete motion and the transcript of today's meeting would be the primary research documents for any interested viewers. So if you'd like to view that, both of these documents, as well as any ancillary materials related to the docket, will be available on the Commission's website through our powerful and flexible docket management system research portal. That's dms.psc.sc.gov. Commissioner Hamilton spoke to the PD's high poverty rate and to his belief that the motion meets the needs of those with the ability to least pay. He also thanked the company for their willingness to work with the farm community. Commissioner Williams likewise supported the motion, stating that farmers are dealing with historically low crop prices and catastrophic effects of recent weather. Commissioner Urban then spoke to the need to help the agricultural community, as agriculture is the #1 industry in our state, and one that has been adversely affected by factors both human and external, and spoke to his support for the motion. Commissioner Howard then echoed the commissioner's comments and emphasized the importance of the night hearings and the emotional impact they had on the commissioners. With discussion concluded, the motion carries. Again, the full text of that motion and a press release will be available by close of business this afternoon. We encourage you to reach out to us if you'd like to view those and are having trouble finding them through the docket management system. Otherwise, they will be available for research, yes. Moving on to item 6, beginning with some background. On April 8th, Duke Energy Carolinas and Duke Energy Progress filed a proposed capacity sales agreement with the Commission, and this would allow the companies to sell temporarily available excess capacity to the other under certain conditions. In their filing, DEC and DEP state this proposal will provide savings to customers. Commissioner Urban moved to accept this proposal, as the agreement is beneficial to customers and to the companies, and that ORS recommended this proposal be approved. This motion carries. Item 7 covered a request by Duke Energy to treat certain portions of its 2018 annual report of investments in exempt wholesale generators and foreign utility companies as confidential. Commissioner Howard moved to grant this request, as this report contains proprietary and sensitive information. That motion carries. Next, the Commission discussed the notice that will be provided to Palmetto Wastewater Reclamation LLC customers related to their May 1st decision. Last week, the PSC approved the settlement agreement between Palmetto Wastewater Reclamation LLC and the Office of Regulatory Staff in Commission Order number 2019-314. That order can be found through the document management system. Commissioner Williams displayed a document that he recommends be sent out today with bills to Palmetto Wastewater Reclamation consumers, and that motion carries. Finally, the Commission granted Pro Hoc Vici status for an applying lawyer in docket number 1995-1192-E. Commissioner Williams made that motion, which passed. In addition to the items discussed today in depth on the utilities agenda, the commissions were also briefed on 37 more utility-related items. You can find that complete list of these items and the corresponding docket numbers on the utilities agenda available at the PSC website at psc.sc.gov. Moving on to the transportation agenda. The commissioners heard 4 requests for new applications for Class C non-emergency certificates. These requests were all granted following a motion made by Commissioner Hamilton. The Commission then moved on to a request for extension of time until May 31st, 2019 for a moving company to file its 2018 annual report. This was granted following a motion made by Commissioner Belser. Item 6 covered a request to cancel a Class C certificate, which was granted following a motion made by Commissioner Williams. And item 7, a request to suspend a Class C certificate until September 2019, also passed following a motion made by Commissioner Williams. Item 8 covered a request for exemption from Regulation 103-153, which mandates markings or identification on transportation vehicles. The requester stated in their application that discretion is paramount to their customers and that placarding would depreciate the value of their fleet. This request was granted following a motion made by Commissioner Howard. In addition to these items discussed during the transportation section of today's business meeting, the commissioners were advised on 4 other transportation-related issues. The complete list of these is available through the Docket Management System website at dms.psc.sc.gov. Along with the complete agendas, you'll also be able to find a complete transcript of this morning's proceedings before the next commission business meeting. The next meeting, speaking of, will be taking place at 2 p.m. on May 22nd. That meeting will be live streamed on our website at www.psc.sc.gov. Please do note that the offices of the Public Service Commission will be closed this Friday, May 10th. We will reopen at 8:15 a.m. on Monday, May 13th. For questions and for more information, please follow us on social media. On Twitter at PSC of SC, or on Facebook at Public Service Commission of South Carolina, or call the offices of the PSC at 803-896-5100. Thank you very much.